Hello everybody and welcome back for another Tampa International Airport update today. Today we have a very busy airport to get into, so let's not waste any further time and get started with the airport update today. We'll start our airport update right here where we have the Silver Airways ATR 42 pulling in. It's currently taxiing in right now, pulling into Gate 3, which has is where Silver parks. They have a whole bunch of stands over there where they park their ATRs. This one is just pulling in right now from Fort Lauderdale, and it will be heading out to West Palm Beach tonight. Alright, now into Airside A, our first aircraft here being the United Airlines 737-800. This aircraft arrived in from Houston Intercontinental, and it will be heading back out there today on the turnaround. Our next aircraft here, and our second of two United aircraft, we have this United 737-MAX 8 right here. This aircraft arrived in from Chicago O'Hare, and will be heading out to Washington Dulles. Alright, and now into our JetBlue section here. We will begin with the JetBlue A321 there on the bottom of your screen. This aircraft arrived in from Boston Logan and will be heading back out there. In the middle here we have the Mosaic Tail A320. This aircraft is in from New York, Newark, and it will be heading out to White Plains, New York. And two more New York routes for the JetBlue A320 on the top of your screen. This one arrived in from New York JFK, and it will be heading out to Newark. So, very nice right there. All these flights going up to the northeast, and all looking very nice here on these JetBlue aircraft. Finally, here in Airside A, we have our Spirit gates. We'll begin on the right of your screen. We have this A319 in the old rainbow color scheme. This one arrived in from New Orleans and will be heading out to Columbus, Ohio. In the middle here, we have this A320, and this one is in from Fort Lauderdale and is on the turnaround today on the short flight back out to Fort Lauderdale. Finally, we have the A320 Neo there on the far left of your screen. Kind of hard to see, it's being blocked by the terminal. This one arrived in from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll be heading back out there, another turnaround for this aircraft. Okay, I hope you like that little intro here to Airside C, as I found out that I must have lost my footage of the People Mover, the tram, to Airside C, which I thought I did have, which I guess I don't, so I can't show the tram footage that I thought I would be able to for this Airside, so instead you are stuck with the little bluey intro, because all of the airlines except for Avelo that fly into the Airside C are all blue. So we will begin right here with the Southwest Airlines 737-700 right here in the foreground. This one has split scimitar winglets and arrived in from Indianapolis, Indiana. Will be heading out to New Orleans. Next down here we have the 737-800 in the old livery. This one is getting ready to go for the flight out to Buffalo, New York, and it arrived in from Columbus, Ohio. This Southwest Airlines 737-700 is getting serviced for the flight out to Kansas City and will be departing shortly, and arrived in from Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Right here we have the Southwest Airlines 737-700 currently taxiing in after arriving from Denver. This one will later tonight be heading out to Austin Bergstrom. And here we have our final two Southwest aircraft today. We have Colorado 1 right there on the bottom of your screen. This one arrived in from Chicago O'Hare, and it'll be heading out to Chicago Midway. How about that? That is Very ironic that it is on Colorado one, both heading to two different Chicago airports. For that is what happened in real life. So I'll incorporate that here in the airport update. But that's pretty funny. Behind that one, we have the Southwest Airlines 737-800. This one is in from St. Louis, and we'll be heading out to Denver. So yeah, definitely a lot more Southwest aircraft in this update than the last one. We're actually not through with Southwest aircraft, but that's all that we have here for Airside C. Well, we do have one more aircraft, and as you may have guessed, it is blue. All right, and here we have the Breeze A320-300. This one arrived in from Providence, and we'll be heading back out there. We had that just in the last update as well, so same flight here on the same aircraft, and also going to one of my other airport update series. So how about that? Right here we have this UPS MD-11 right here. This aircraft arrived in from Louisville Worldport, and it will be heading back out there on the turnaround today. And over here at the other hardstand gates, we have this Delta A321 right here. This one arrived in from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and it is currently just waiting for gate space to open in Airside E, for then it will make the service out to Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson. Next down here we have the FedEx 767-300, which arrived in from Memphis and is on the turnaround today. So yeah, looking very nice right here. And now we'll move on to Airside E.
We are approaching Airside C, serving Air Canada, Delta, and Frontier.
All right, and it's once again packed here in Airside E. We will begin with this Delta 757-200. This one arrived in from Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, or Citrus Aviation's airport, and it will be heading back out there today on the turnaround. This one is in the gorgeous breast cancer awareness livery, the old livery that Delta no longer has in their fleet, unfortunately, but it was nice while it lasted. And then behind that one, we have this Delta A321. This one arrived from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and it's on the turnaround today, back out there. And here we have the rest of our Deltas over here in Airside E. Beginning there on the top left of your screen, we have this 737-900. This aircraft just arrived in from New York LaGuardia. Later tonight, it will be heading back out there on the turnaround. In the middle here, we have another 737-900. This one, another turn. This one doing the Detroit turn today. And then finally here, we have this A321 Neo. Another turn for this aircraft. This one doing the LAX turn. Right here, we have the backlit Air Canada Rouge A320. This aircraft arrived in from Toronto Pearson. We'll be heading back out there tonight. So they can park here on the E airside because Toronto, of course, has a pre-clearance facility for their U.S. international flights. So it doesn't have to fly in to airside F, which is where the rest of the international flights come in. So that's a little bit unique here that Air Canada can park in airside E rather than where all the rest of them are. And we'll be heading over to airside F after this one, and we'll see all of our international action. So stay tuned for that, and that is where we'll conclude the airport update. And as the tram voice said, this is the concourse of Air Canada, Delta, and Frontier. So we will now conclude with the Frontier aircraft. We have on the top there the A321 in the Cubby the Bear livery. This one arrived in from Denver, and I'll be heading back out there, back out to the Frontier hub. And next up here, we have this Frontier A320 Neo. And this one arrived in from Trenton, New Jersey. And you'll be heading out to Cincinnati after an overnight turn. This one is actually quite interesting that the airport code for this airport is TTN. Therefore, it would be Trenton. But on Flight Radar, it says it's Philadelphia, which is quite interesting because the Philadelphia airport code is obviously PHL. So interesting that they're calling Trenton Philadelphia. I mean, it's in South Jersey, so it's in the same region, but very interesting that they call it Philadelphia and not Trenton. And like if there's a change with like what the airport name is, they all call it like the Philadelphia Trenton Airport or something like that. yeah, I have not noticed that. Maybe I've seen it before, but I've just not noticed it. But yeah, uh, technically that should be Trenton, but it is called Philadelphia on Flight Radar. So that's very interesting right there for this Frontier A320 Neo in the Baja the Whale Shark livery. All right, and now we'll move on to Airside F. I really need a fun little intro thing for this one because I don't have a tram video that I can do for Airside F because I've never been here. Well, maybe I have been to Airside F at some point. I don't have any videos of the tram going here, so unfortunately I don't have any footage for that intro. But I need to do something for it because this is the only one that I don't have anything for. So maybe send in ideas of intros that I can do for this airport, or not this airport, this Airside F. So now we will begin with our American gates here, as they are the main airline here in Airside F, and we have a whole bunch of American aircraft to get to today. So we will begin. In the back there, we have the Astrojet livery 737-800. This one arrived in from Dallas-Fort Worth, and you'll be heading back out there. That is Red River Aviation's airport. In the middle here, we have this American A321. This one arrived in from Charlotte Douglas, and it will be heading back out there today on the turnaround. All right, and here's our next batch of Americans. It sounds really weird, but I'm honestly kind of digging it. In the back there, we have the American A321 Neo. This is making its first appearance in an airport update today, so that's pretty exciting. This aircraft arrived in from Charlotte Douglas as well, and is on the turnaround today. In the middle here, we have this A319 with the Sharklets. This aircraft arrived in from Washington, DCA, Washington Reagan National. Then next to that one here, we have the logo on the winglet, 737-800 right here. And this aircraft is in from Miami, and it will be heading back out there today on the turnaround. And right here, we have a very rare visitor here for Airside F. And it's, again, just like in the last update with the JetBlue A320, that was coming in from Cancun and went to Airside F instead of going to Airside A, because this is where the customs facilities are. So here we have this Southwest Airlines 737 MAX 8. This one is in from an international flight from Havana, Cuba, and it will be heading out to Fort Lauderdale, Florida later today. So, yeah, very interesting that Southwest also parks here. I guess it makes sense because I don't believe Airside C has any. Well, it definitely doesn't have any customs facilities, considering that Southwest is pulling into Airside F right now. So yeah, very cool to once again see this park at completely the opposite part of the airport where it would normally park a Southwest aircraft at Tampa. So that is quite interesting right here. But yeah, glad to get this one in here, pulling into gate 83 as we speak from Havana. And right here we have this American 737-800 that arrived in from Chicago O'Hare, and will be heading out to Dallas-Fort Worth today. And now finally breaking the American Airlines monotony here, I guess except for Air Canada, because they were also in here. But now getting into our international carriers, beginning with the Eurowings Discover A330-200. This one arrived in from Frankfurt, and will be heading back out there today. So yeah, cool to see Eurowings in here once again, as they're making their second appearance in an airport update. Yeah, so this used to be Lufthansa proper, I believe, and then it went to, I guess now it's called Discover Airlines, formerly known as Eurowings Discover, but now it is just Discover, although most of the aircraft are still painted in this livery. So yeah, that's very cool right there, but glad to see that Tampa can still have Frankfurt service. They also have service on partner airline Edelweiss, as they're a subsidiary of Swiss. There's service to Zurich as well. So there's a decent amount of international destinations here on mostly budget airlines. But yeah, two airlines that serve London Heathrow as well, which we'll see later today. But also, yeah, Zurich and Frankfurt. So very cool to see here on this Discover Airlines A330. All right, and here's one of the newest airlines at Tampa. It is Porter on the E295. This one is making the service in from Toronto Pearson today, and it will be heading back out there today on the turnaround. This one is currently taxiing in right now, so very cool to get this aircraft in here, making it's not his first time in an airport update, but his first time at Tampa for sure. And yeah, super glad to get this aircraft in here. It's an absolutely gorgeous model by Gemini Jets, and super cool to see that Porter is operating services to TPA with this beautiful aircraft, and hopefully they continue doing well in the future. Yeah, Toronto is quite a popular destination from Tampa. Probably, a lot of people up north in Toronto want to escape to the warmth every now and then, so there are plenty of services from mostly Canadian budget airlines down to these Florida airports. Now, Tampa did used to see service from Swoop and Lynx as well before Lynx went under and Swoop was acquired by WestJet. We still do see Swoop aircraft fly into Tampa under the WestJet brand, so that is still pretty cool to see. But yeah, they are now just WestJet proper, which is unfortunate. But yeah, cool to see that Porter has launched service. Hopefully they do better than Lynx. They're more of an established airline already, and they fly some very cool aircraft, including this one. So glad to get this one in here. And finally here, taxiing out, we have this Virgin Atlantic 787-9. Now this is not the accurate aircraft for this flight, as they fly the A330-300s and 900s into Tampa. But this is my only Virgin Atlantic aircraft, and I want to get this service in here. So here it is on the 787-9 Dreamliner. This aircraft is currently taxiing out for the service to London Heathrow. Also arrived in from there. This is one of two airlines that make the London Heathrow service to Tampa. The other one being British Airways, although Virgin Atlantic has more frequencies. So that is very cool right there. They're another fairly new international airline here to Tampa, as British Airways they've been servicing Tampa for longer than Virgin Atlantic, but Virgin Atlantic has really come on lately, and clearly that's been working for them because now they are servicing Tampa more frequently than British Airways, and so things seem to be going well for them. And glad to get this aircraft in here and see the service at Tampa. So yeah, very nice right here, and yet another one of our international wide-body flights. So yeah, that'll do it for this airport update of the Tampa International Airport. Hope you enjoyed this one. Definitely think this one was definitely a lot more interesting than the last update. So, oh, and by the way, if you have like some footage of the Tampa Airport tram to Airside F, that you would be willing to let me use in these airport updates, please send it over. I'll be happy to use it and credit you as well. But yeah, give me suggestions if for something that I can do for an intro of this airside, because I'd like to have a little bit of something for all of the airsides if I don't have a tram video, just for funsies sake. But yeah, that'll do it for our airport update day. So thank you all for checking this one out, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night. Auf Wiedersehen.